Hey guys, it's BDrum1 and this is how to do improv rock beats. So this is stemming off of just the basic rock beat which I taught in my last video. So I'll have a link in the description for you to check that out. So if you don't really play the drums, you should watch that video before this one. But if you have watched that video, you should be able to go right into this one. So here it is. So the basic rock beat is just hi-hat eighth notes all throughout the 4/4 measure, bass drum on 1 and 3, snare drum on backbeats 2 and 4. So this, you can play it slow or fast, but it always pretty much has the same sound. And it pretty much sounds the same, just if you keep doing it, and it doesn't sound interesting. So what I'm doing right here is teaching you how to just make up things as you go to make it sound slightly different and catered for how you want to use it. So the first thing is just snare and bass on the eighth notes that you're not playing them. So what I mean by this, you could just start off with, so bass is always on 1 and 3, and you could just have it be on 1 and. So, and then 3. So it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that would sort of make it have a different sound, and you can add some things like that with the snare. So I'm going to give an example of just the bass drum going on 1 and 1 and. That's how it usually sounds. And then that's how it sounds with the bass drum, and now I'm going to do the same thing with the snare and not the bass. Now I'm going to do a combination of both. Or you could do it throughout the whole thing. I usually don't like this sound, but you can do this. So really what's the best with that, you just want to mix and match, so it could be something like this. So just something like that would work pretty well if you just want it to sound a little different. The next thing is a little harder. It's 16th notes, so it's in between those eighth notes. It's just, the hi-hat's on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So these are in between those ands. So it would sound something like this. So I'm putting that on the and, or after the and of 4. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, usually. But with this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and So it's after that and, you usually say so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then you can do the same thing with the bass, and you can add those in throughout the beats while doing the just eighth notes on the snare and bass. So just doing the eighth notes and doing the 16th notes, adding different things of those in will make it a lot different. So this is the original basic rock beat. And then this is it with all those things that I'm teaching you today. So that's a little advanced, but that's pretty much the main things. Now this last part is going to be a little trickier just because it involves another foot, which you're not usually using, which is the hi-hat pedal. So if you want to have another different sound, you can have an open hi-hat. So just the basic rock beat. So when it's closed, it sounds. When it's open, it sounds. So what you want to do is just open it for usually just one beat, so that it just gives a different flair to the sound, instead of just the same monotone type thing. It's adding something on the hi-hat. So just incorporating that into everything else. This is what you could sound like after adding all these things in. So that's just pretty basic. The last thing, just the very last thing, is adding in other symbols. You only really need one other symbol if you want to do this. So I'm just going to be using, because it's easy on your view. So you want to use the same hand that you're doing on the hi-hat, and just for one beat, instead of using the hi-hat, you use a cymbal. You can hit in different spots depending on what type of sound you want, but you can add it in. So this is what it would sound like with just a basic beat. So you usually want to play it on the 1 so that it sounds good, but you can do it with other cymbals. You can also add them in at different points, so that it sounds a little different. So I'll do that here. So what I did there at the end, what you want to do, you always want to line up with the cymbal with the bass, because it gives it just like a darker, more full sound. By itself sounds good, but it just gives it a better sound. So what I was demonstrating there, you just always want to keep those together. So whenever your right hand is hitting a cymbal, you want your right foot on the bass drum to also be hitting the drum. So that's just some basic things that you should know. Thanks for watching this video.